Before you begin to relax nice and deeply, I'm just going to say a few words about how self-acceptance can transform your life. Striving to improve yourself is, of course, admirable, but knowing your limitations and relaxing, accepting and feeling calm about those limitations means you can see yourself objectively, and therefore stop feeling guilty or inadequate about some of your characteristics. We can all improve many parts of ourselves more than we often believe, but it's true to say that people vary. Some people are never going to be world-beating athletes, although they could achieve the maximum fitness for their physical potential. Some people are just naturally less mathematically or less socially gifted than others. Now, all these things can be improved upon, but in order to improve them, you need to be on your own side. This means recognizing that you have limitations, that you are human, and that you have what are known as signature strengths. These may not be the strengths generally recognized by other people, but they are still strengths that can fulfill you and propel you towards achieving your goals. Self-acceptance is all about assessing yourself fairly so that you can remain calm rather than beating yourself up and getting upset. Self-acceptance doesn't mean not striving to improve and change, but it does mean making allowances for yourself sometimes, knowing your natural weaker points and accepting them, whilst also remembering your strong points. When you can say, "Okay, so I may not be great at science, but I can bait a hook," then you don't have to hide, bluff, or blush your way through life. And you can decide what is important to you, not what you think you should be like in order to please others. Far too much of the pressure we put ourselves under comes about because we're responding to what we think other people expect or demand of us, making us adopt a way of being that is just not us. Not everyone is athletic or scientific, or naturally great at languages or business-minded, although we all have more potential in these areas than we believe. But for some people, being social or artistic just comes more easily than for others. The fact that different people have different strengths and weaknesses is why we humans group together. If you are not business-minded and you want to run a business, you need to find someone who is. If you're not great on the phone, find someone who is and learn from them, rather than just beating yourself up about it. Instead of lamenting the fact that you're not what you feel you should be and then trying to pretend, relax with your limitations, at least to yourself. When you can honestly say to yourself, "I'm not great at this or that," you're not being negative. If that self-assessment is coming from a place of calm and clarity in your mind, and not from emotional reaction, you are actually manifesting real confidence. And being able to occasionally admit to other people that something is not your particular strong point and that you are better at X or Y actually demonstrates a deep confidence. Self-acceptance also means that you can relax about other aspects of yourself which form part of your makeup, such as your background, accent, or culture. Instead of beating yourself up or feeling embarrassed because you don't fit in, you can focus on how to make the most of your strengths conferred on you by such characteristics. Being relaxed with yourself can coexist with a determination for self-improvement. In fact, when you accept yourself, you create a powerful platform for self-improvement because you waste less energy on self-deception or putting up a front, and you will begin to have clarity as to just what needs improving in your life. So, as you prepare to relax nice and deeply, I'd like you to begin by closing those eyes if you haven't already, and realize that in allowing yourself to drift into a nice, comfortable trance state, there really is nothing you need to consciously do. There's no need to try, or to try not to try, to let your conscious mind wander away from these words and into thoughts about this and that. And it's perfectly okay if you find yourself daydreaming and drifting. You're perfectly okay. And if a part of you wants to attend very closely to each and every word, that's fine. It's really good that your body can relax in its own time, in the way it knows best. There's no need to relax too soon. For you can really take all the time you need, here and now, to go into whatever trance feels right for you. It could be the kind of trance where you feel wonderfully light and floaty, with a sense of soothing inner warmth, like sunlight warming the face, forming the lips into a gentle smile. It could be a slow, steady sense of sinking, like sinking into a warm bath, the steam and water soothing away any less comfortable sensations. Like a wonderfully relaxing sigh. And a part of you could become involved in that, as particular parts of that physical body begin to relax all by themselves. And you can be curious about what's going to happen this time. Will it be those hands that relax first? Or those feet? Will one hand feel particularly light, and one a little heavier or warmer? Perhaps you'll notice mental images, perhaps consciously at first. Images of the day so far, of things you need to do, and how in time you can notice those images becoming increasingly unconscious. Dreamlike fragments of a green field, a conversation, a vast desert, a blue sky, as the conscious mind drifts in and out, just like that breathing slows into its own rhythm, all by itself. And just how distant can a thought be before it's no longer your thought? You could wonder consciously when you're shifting from light trance to deep trance, or narrow trance to wide expansive trance. And as you drift deeper still, you can notice that conscious wandering happen all by itself, some way over there, like distant thoughts. And I wonder what you would see if you could float out of yourself and turn around and see yourself relax deeper still. Watching the expression on that face softening, smoothing out, that jaw loosening, the rise and fall of that chest. That's it. And can you know how deep a mind can go into a trance here? That's it. In the knowledge that a transforming dream can seem like the gleam in a diamond that contains, that's it, what it is as you really relax. That you going all the way down. Don't know yet. Into the brilliant white light of that gleam. There's no need to not go all the way in. 2 times as deep as the comfort of immersing yourself in the most spectacular of dreams. Soaring through the clouds, unseen inner landscapes. Yours to enjoy. Any sooner than you feel that now's the time. That's it. And there was, once upon a lifetime, a little girl who would sit on the porch of her aunt's house by the sea. And her aunt would sit in her rocking chair and point out at the ocean and say, "Just look at the beautiful way the light shines on the water." And the girl would gaze and gaze and gaze, transfixed by the majesty of that view, and how she saw within that sea so many shades of blue and green, of turquoise and glinting light, of waves and surf, and how she felt herself, time and again, sink right into those moments, breathing in the essence of them into the core of her being, seeing the colours so vividly, and feeling her place in that scene. That as the sea was part of the earth, so was she, that she came out of this earth like an apple from a tree, and had always been part of it. That this moment had never happened before, and would never be repeated ever again. That the crash of those waves, the breeze against her face, was utterly unique, and that equally she was unique as her fingerprints. And a fingerprint cannot help but be perfect in its uniqueness. That the waves of those lines can never be improved, just as the waves of that ocean, their rhythm, their colour, were utterly perfect in their uniqueness. And that girl grew to become a young woman, and she experienced some difficulty in finding the enjoyment she once drew from life, feeling more and more like she was drudging to work and drudging home again and again. And she hadn't visited her aunt for some time. And the day she returned and greeted her aunt, and the two of them went out onto the porch, the young woman was very depressed to see that a huge oil rig had been built in the bay which the house overlooked. And she told her aunt how terrible it looked, an ugly eyesore. And her aunt looked at her very gently, and then gazed straight out at the water with a little smile, peace on her face. And after some time she said, "Yes, dear, but just look at the way the light shines on the water." That's it. And it's the case, is it not, that if you were shipwrecked and were washed ashore on an island, all you would really have was who you are, the essential universal spark that is your essence. And that essence has depths you have yet to discover. It has quirks and eccentricities, strengths and weaknesses, ambitions, fears, desires and hopes. But beneath all that, a sense of being that you simply are, unfolding through time, like a tree extending its branches to the sky and sending its roots deep into the ground. And your ability to relax with yourself, with all parts of who you are, and to be able to embrace them with a real warmth and understanding, is something which can truly assist you in accepting yourself as really being okay as you are, like welcoming your strong points, welcoming your weak points, as making up the essence of you in this moment, welcoming your body as it is, your personality, your intellect, welcoming your hopes and fears, even your drive to improve, welcoming any tendency to judge yourself unfairly, welcoming the totality of who you are, and resting in the warmth of knowing that, just as a tree knows it's okay simply to be a tree, as the ocean knows it's okay simply to be the ocean. You can really let go into the sense of that. It's okay to be who you are, alive, unique, and part of this earth. And I'd like you to find, here and now, a time in your past when you lacked self-acceptance, when you felt somehow that who you were just wasn't good enough, that you weren't okay as you were. And when you find that time, I'd like you just to take a look at yourself in that situation. The expression on your face, the way you were moving, just seeing yourself there. And I want you just to take a moment to step closer to that younger you and communicate with them, to offer them the love and acceptance they needed, to really know that they are okay. And you might do that with a look or with words, even giving them a hug, to simply let that younger you know that they're okay as they are. And just notice how the expression on their face shifts, how their body relaxes. Noticing how this changes the way they feel. That's it. And as they do that, you could even step right inside them and just experience that sense of, okay, this is me. This is simply who I am. And feel what it's like to relax with that. And as you do that, you can notice a new sense of hope and excitement as you realize that starting from such a clear, firm base gives you maximum potential for further self-improvement. And each time you do this, you can embed this acceptance deeper into different past times, noticing how this influences your future, how simply being you begins to become a simple part of how you are, socially, at work, sitting by yourself, lying in bed, after succeeding at something, after failing at something. That there's an essence of simply being that rests under and supports everything you do. And you can just notice the incredible reassurance and support that provides. And as you begin now to come back to the here and now, you can bring this acceptance and sense of being back with you. That's it. Just preparing gently to become wide awake again. Steadily becoming more aware of the sounds around you. Noticing the positions of your arms, of your legs. The sensation of whatever's supporting your body. And then, in your own time, just open your eyes, feeling refreshed and alert. Good.